My name's Greg Fromont and I am 34 this year, and the name of the business is Meadowlark. Well, firstly I'm a jeweller. For Meadowlark I make all of the samples and the master patterns these days, and generally help out in the workshop with production and bits and pieces. And I also handle the financial side of Meadowlark as well. The idea of the artist benefit was that I think you were just specifically looking for work in the field, the creative field. And largely because I was kind of one of the first to get on it, they hadn't developed it. And also it depends what wins you with and all that kind of stuff as well. Like some were set up for it, and you had courses, you went on these creative courses and all this kind of stuff. And you get all this, this help around, it is kind of around business basically. But generally speaking, they didn't bother me because there were so many people that went on it as well. So they had to process, you go on a waiting list for courses and stuff, but the waiting list is huge. So, I mean, I just kind of found out about the business enterprise on my own and figured that was the best road to go down, really. Well, essentially, because they wouldn't give me the grant the first time round, and that was kind of the first time that it happened to anybody. So the people that were doing the business course was quite shocked because they'd had a lot of success previous to that. Yeah, I went back on the benefit, and, well, I remained on the benefit, and then a fair amount of time went by, probably at least 6 months, and I didn't have a plan after that. The Te Wānanga thing came along, and it was only then that it occurred to me that I should just reapply for the business grant. The Te Wānanga thing was much more comprehensive. It was really interesting because I started out going on my own actually, and it's quite hard to go on your own every week, and there's a classroom full of strangers, and there were heaps of people in the class too. The classes were packed, so there's 40 people in a class with one tutor, and the tutors were all quite well experienced and stuff. They were really good, and I knew straight away that it was a good place to be where I could pick up some stuff. Because it's quite hard, especially artists, kind of creative, specific stuff, it's quite hard to find people who can really kind of help you with that kind of stuff. And the other thing, and as I say, it was quite hard going on my own, so I roped in one of my mates who I was flatting with at the time, because he had his own little business on the side as well, little family business. And it was much easier going with somebody else, and over the duration of the course, people just fell out of the classes. So we went from 40 people and you'd lose, 10 people every month. And by the end of it, we had, I think there were 4 people left in the class. At the very end, the last, probably 2 months of it, there were like 4 to 6 people left. Because people they just lost interest and motivation and, whatever. And obviously because I had an idea and I had an end goal. If I'd been more disciplined, then I would have just gotten a job, saved up. I was quite aware from the get-go though, and I mean that's lots of people's argument really. I mean the more disciplined you are, obviously the better chances you have. But those skills I didn't learn until mid to late 20s kind of thing, And I can't speak for anybody else out there, but I just didn't have, I wasn't motivated in the right way, I was kind of focusing on skateboarding and that kind of thing for a long time because that was my passion. Because I was used to living on like on a student loan and student allowance. So I had no money for a long time. And I'm sure it's harder now than it ever was then. But I was quite conscious of the fact that as soon as I got a job and started earning a full-time wage, I get used to it. And so going back to, so when you start off a business, you've got it, we didn't pay ourselves, Claire and I didn't pay ourselves for the first, 3 years or 4 years or something. And I had a part-time job, that whole time. And just making ends meet in that time, if I had to go from a full-time job to a part-time wage, it'd be really, really hard. So much harder to go back the other way. What we've tried to do is, we spent like a year preparing our brand for the international market. And the brand is Claire's kind of domain. Obviously we design together, but she's pushing the marketing and the direction of the brand itself. And over that year, we basically were trying to stop thinking like a small fish in a big pond and start thinking like a big fish in a big pond, which is quite a difficult, for New Zealanders I think it's quite a difficult shift in thinking. Yeah, but it's really important. Yeah, I mean we would rather not think of ourselves, we'll try not to dwell on the fact that we're a New Zealand brand, we're just a brand.